morning, Spiritual Life Center. We're having a lot of fun up here. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. We're going to synchronize with life today. Reverend James has an awesome talk for you. It's a wonderful service filled with great music, wonderful people. Jan Adrian is signing books today. She wrote a book. Like, you do, you're just amazing. And now she wrote a book. So you'll hear more about that later. Anyway, let's sing about how we're all welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh my soul is welcome here. Oh my soul is welcome here. And I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Your soul is welcome. All souls are welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. And I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul, my soul, my soul, your soul, my soul, that is welcome here. And I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Yeah. My soul is welcome here. Yeah. My soul is welcome here. Yeah. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Don't you love that?
Our souls are welcome here. Having too much fun already this morning, but it's all good in God's neighborhood. Good morning, Reverend Deborah. Good to see you today.
Good morning, Reverend James, and it's great to see you. And we greet you this morning in the name of all that is good, all that is holy, and all that is sacred, and in the warm and loving energy of this community, Spiritual Life Center. Spiritual Life Center honors all people worshiping in temples, mosques, churches, stone circles, and of course the beautiful temples of nature, because we know there is no space that God does not grace. And if you're with us for the very first time today, either watching us online or here in person, we especially want to welcome you because we know that you are not here by accident. Every one of us is here by
Divine appointment.
And we're always so very excited and grateful when we are able to get together. And of course, that gratitude extends to silencing your electronic devices. And please refrain from flash photography during the service.
Well, we've created that clearing to connect with this presence. So let's take this time to commune for just a few moments. And remember this truth, that this presence is love itself, and we are one with it. We come from it. And as we make it the activity of our life, and how we think and how we speak and how we interact in the world, then we are being the vessels and the channels to bring forth the qualities of God in our life and in this world. For we are aware that the Spirit of the living God needs us to shine the light in this places that may be dark. It's up to us. So we take this time to listen to this presence, to be guided in the right and perfect ways, to speak what needs to be spoken at the right and perfect time. And as we do, then we begin to elevate not only ourselves, but everyone else, because we are one in the Spirit. And whatever we do for ourselves or for any other, we are actually doing indirectly for everyone. So we're grateful for the opportunity to be the vessels and the vehicles of this presence, and realize that there's no challenge too great when we, in the presence of God and all of us, act as one reality. It is done, and we are grateful. Amen. Well, we have a very important purpose as reflected in our mission statement at Spiritual Life Center, and I invite you to join in as we affirm it together. To transform lives, to make a positive difference in the world, as we love, serve, and remember. And we carry out that mission as we embody and live to the best of our ability these 5 universal principles in our daily lives. Again, let's reinforce them and embody them as we speak them aloud. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God. We must take action.
And I have to tell you that we have had some great action with Reverend James's Wow Wednesday Sacred Symbolism, unveiling the metaphysical and mystical layers of the Bible. We had a blast last week. We broke it out into small groups and had the opportunity to come up with our own interpretation of a certain passage. Are we going to get to do that again this week?
We're going to do it again. It was so fun. We're going to do it one more time.
All right. And it's every week we've had just a few more people come. So you can still come even though you haven't attended the other 3. And it's a blast, and it's so incredibly helpful. So the community meal is at 6, and the program starts at 7, and probably will go almost to 8:30, even though you say it won't.
Yeah. We end up going to almost the whole time. We'll see how it goes. Well, today, Laurel and Hardy Day by the group, Another Fine Mess. That's what they call themselves. That could be a lot of places that people that I know. Another Fine Mess. It could be about my life. But they're going to show the movies. I think the live Ghost and the Devil's Brother. And you're free to wear a mask or a costume today. And I ran into one of the folks that were there, and it looks like it's going to be a blast. So it's going to be this afternoon at 1 to 3:30. It's going to be in the, what room is it going to be in?
The annex.
The annex. That's
Yep.
the room to my right.
Yep.
Your left. Anyway, you'll find it. The ghostly-looking people, so it'll be there.
So the Thrive Treasure Marketplace Boutique is coming up this Saturday, and you have until the 25th to sign up. If you are a tinker, tailor, candlestick maker, or other craft or gift maker, you can still sign up to become a vendor, and you can do that online. And like I said, you have until the 25th. For the rest of you, be here at 10 because all the good stuff will go really fast, right?
And speaking of good stuff, we're having an auction coming up very soon, and you have an opportunity to support this auction as well as support Spiritual Life Center by offering your auction items. And today is the last call for those auction items, and the live auction is going to start on November the 5th. So if you've got some items that you'd like to provide as part of the auction process, just bring in the Spiritual Life Center, and we make sure that they're here to help support our auction. One of the things I was mentioning earlier, that we all have a book inside of us, but only a few of us actually write that book. And one of the few that has written the book, and I was speaking with Jan Adrian about her book, and she's going to share her journey in writing her book. Well, she talked about her journey, and I got some tips when I get ready to write a book again. But welcome Jan Adrian. She's going to talk about her book, and thank you.
Thank you. It's so fun to be here and to see so many people that I haven't seen for a while. My prayer for most of my adult life has been the prayer of St. Francis, Lord, make me an instrument. When I was diagnosed with cancer in 1989, I didn't think at the time that that was an answer to prayer. At the time, it felt devastating, and I was really upset. But in retrospect, it feels like that was an answer to my prayer, to make me an instrument. Because of my cancer, I started a nonprofit called Healing Journeys, because making me an instrument means I want to use my gifts and my talents to benefit other people. And Healing Journeys, over 25 years, benefited more than 25,000 people. Thank you. We did a conference called Cancer as a Turning Point from Surviving to Thriving all over the country. And it was the most satisfying and useful career I ever could have had, and I wouldn't have done it without cancer. Many people told me I should write a book, and I had many reasons not to. One of the reasons was that there are too many cancer books on the market. I didn't want to add to that glut of cancer books. And the other was that I was not cancer-free, and I thought I had to be cancer-free to be inspirational. Somebody eventually convinced me that living and thriving with cancer for 30-plus years could be inspirational in itself. So thank you. So I spent the pandemic writing the book. And even though this book is about cancer, I've been told by people that read it that it can be useful no matter what has washed up on your beach. So my purpose in writing it is to benefit all the people who doesn't have something that washes up on your beach. And my hope is that what I went through and the way I dealt with my struggles will be inspirational for you. And so I'll be out in the lobby signing books after the service. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Jen.
And of course, each week we remind you that there are many activities that foster transformation here at Spiritual Life Center. So check out our weekly offerings and our small groups, and you can go out into the courtyard, look at the bulletin board, and also go over and chat with the lovely people at the hub, and they can tell you what's going on. And of course, you can always go to our website to find out what all of the activities are.
And of course, we have a number of activities to help folks connect with one another. It might be an event, it might be a class, a workshop, a small group meeting. But we don't have to wait until we have any of those to connect with one another. We can actually start a connection with someone right here, right now. So I invite you just to turn to a friend or a neighbor, someone you know or don't know, and in a manner that feels comfortable for you, just say, "You are marvelous and glad you are here."
invite you to stay standing, take all that good energy from saying hello to one another, and join us in singing our Faith in Action song, Faith is the Key, written by Paula Mandela, who I think is watching, celebrating Ira's birthday today. Happy birthday, Ira!
Happy birthday, Ira!
Wave to a camera somewhere. So you might be getting comfortable with this now, so sing out loud and strong. Let's do it together. Living my life from the inside out, moving toward my dreams, turning away all my fears and doubts. A world of lack is not what it seems. It's no secret, there's a universal divine flow, attracting all I need. With grateful heart, now for this I know, it's there abundantly. It's no miracle, it's very clear to see. God can do nothing for me that isn't done through me. I know that faith is the key to the kingdom of power within me. I see it, believe it, and now I can achieve it. Love moves in me and transforms every fear into courage. I feel it, I know it, and every day I show it. Faith is the key to the kingdom of power within me. I get funky back there. I see it, believe it, and now I can achieve it. Love moves in me and transforms every fear into courage. I feel it, I know it, and every day I'll show it. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Faith is the key. Faith is the key. Love moves in me. It moves in me. Faith is the key. Love moves in me. Give yourselves a hand and please be seated.
Faith is the key. Well, we know that each year we have our Faith in Action series. And one of the things that we do, we have a resident artist do a kind of pictorial representation of what the theme of the week is. And of course, our artist for this week is Reverend Penelope Clement. Yes, yes, know her art. And she wrote this about her art. She titled it, The Divine Heart Container. Here's what she writes. People yearn for repose in God because they innately know they are one in the Spirit. This painting shows the divine heart container of God's love. When we realize we are all held in the divine container of God's heart, we know we are one in the Spirit. God's absolute love keeps us safe and secure. This allows us to lay down our resistance to life, for there is nothing to fear. Then we align with the flow and form a harmonious interaction with others. Reverend Penelope Clement, The Divine Heart Container. Thank you, Rev.
And now, as we move into the contemplative part of our service, let us embody the words of our vision statement together. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet.
And now, in preparation for meditation, we invite you to sing this beautiful chant with us, If Love Is Why I'm Here, by Karen Drucker. Please join us in singing.
If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why If love is why we're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. If love is why we're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Let me give and then receive. Let me give and then
As we settle into this time of quiet, just breathe naturally and simply be aware of how you relax with each breath. Breathe into the back of your heart and exhale, melting into your seat. Relax your shoulders, relax your eyelids, and allow your vision to become soft and cloudy as you close your eyes, and allow your consciousness to lift into a light daydream, and come dance with me in the spiral of love. In front of you is a hedge-lined path, and a very friendly puppy bounces up to you. The puppy jumps and twirls around a sign that says, "Welcome to the spiral of love." She bounces over to you, exuding love and joy, and the puppy makes you laugh, and your heart opens to receive this love. The puppy runs along the path, stopping and looking back as if to say, "Follow me." The path is beautiful. It's lined with hedges. There's flowers, birds, butterflies, and peace abounds. As you come into the first curve of the spiral, a small child runs up to greet you. The child's eyes radiate pure love as it reaches up to show you a special toy. As you bend down to look at the toy, the child wraps its arms around your neck and hugs you joy and love tingle throughout your entire body. Receiving this love, your heart opens just a little bit more. Now, following the puppy and the child along the path, you laugh with glee as they bounce and they just run in pure joy for simply being. As you step into the next curve, a couple dances into the path. They look lovingly into each other's eyes as they twirl and spin, exuding love and peace and joy. As they spin around, sparks fly that resolve into strands of light that spiral around you. Receiving this deep love, your heart opens even wider. By now, you are so filled with love that you feel that you cannot hold anymore. Still, your companions move ahead of you, their lights of love and joy pulling you along. And now, an ethereal being clad in white stands in the middle of the path, watching you with pure love, arms spread wide. And so you walk right into those arms, which wrap around you in the purest, most loving embrace that you have ever felt. You feel safe and warm. Love and joy permeate your body, your bones, your cells, your very soul. Your heart opens even wider, immersed in pure love. The being takes you by the hand and leads you around the final curve into the center of the spiral. Here burns the light of clear, holy, pure love. And you are immersed in the light, blending, dancing in love and joy, just for being in the silence. Your eyes see only love. You feel only love. Love is your connection with everything. It keeps you together. It keeps all of us together. And as you take a breath or two to begin to return to your physical body, please receive this blessing. Oh, my beloved, there is only love. As you walk through the seasons of your life, you will encounter many moods and emotions. Yet no matter the season, you can always come within where love dwells, where infinite love is bouncing, dancing, embracing you, where you are fully embraced, where you know that truly love is all there is. Remember this. always.
We started on this journey, our convictions all in place. But one by one they tumble, each one a gift from grace. We can change our point of view, and gaze upon the beauty that is you. We see what we want to see and what we wish to be. It's just the way we dream it, the key to what we would have believed. It's just to know that everything's a miracle when seen through the eyes of love. Now when we seem divided, we stand here feeling very small. That's when there comes the courage to knock a hole out of this wall. We take time to find what's true. And now no other looks upon my soul the way you do. We see what we want to see and what we wish to be. It's just the way we dream it, the key to what we would believe. It's just to know that everything's a miracle when seen through the eyes of love. A simple man becomes a king. A child flies on silver wings. A woman now becomes a queen, and none of us are what we see. We see what we want to see, and what we would believe. Anything is possible. It's just the way we dream it. A woman now becomes what we would believe. None of us are. It's just to know that everything's a miracle when seen. Everything's a miracle when seen through
thank you once again, Ann and Laree, our Soul Light Connection team. Everything is a miracle when seen through the eyes of love, divine love. I could just bask in that for a while, but let us carry on. There was a man who had some challenges with his anger. And he decided that he was going to disassociate from society and go up some mountain somewhere and just go inside the cave and just be there, to overcome his anger. And he was in a very serene place and listening to really good, loving music, probably like we just heard here every day for a whole year. And at the end of the year, he realized, I have overcome anger. So he went back to some of his buddies and friends who was hanging out with them, and he announced to all who would listen, had ears to hear, and said, I have overcome anger. And they looked at him and they gave me, a quiet, golf clap. Okay, you've overcome anger now. And they went about their business. And then a little while later, one of the members of the group who knew him well said, now when you were up there in that cave, didn't some thoughts of anger just come up from you from time to time and it kind of gave you a rise and caused you to become angry? He said, no anger came up in me. I said, okay. And then he went on a little while longer, and then a couple more chimed in and said, now, are you absolutely certain that none of these moments came which you had some anger rise up in you? And he said, no. And they kept bringing it back every once in a while, and finally one person said, are you absolutely 100% certain you haven't had any anger during that time? You hadn't thought about anger? And he said, I told you I've overcome anger. Well, that story lets us know we do not become enlightened by retreating from the world. We become enlightened by engaging in it, maybe transcending the world of appearances, in which we're in it, but we're not necessarily entangled with it all. And as this week's topic talks about, we're going to stay in sync with the presence and the power and the love of God. Well, in week 5 of our Faith in Action series, it's going with the flow based upon Eric Butterworth's book, In the Flow of Life. And this week's chapter is about the art of getting along. And Butterworth notes that life is set in the framework of human relations. And of course, while there are conflicts that happen between people, there's conflicts that happen between nations, we see that happening. But there's something that people yearn, and that's to lean on, to trust in, and to rest in the presence of what we call God. Because we know on some level, it all happens when we relate and connect with other people. Because we all come from this one source. We call it God. We all are one in the Spirit. We're all connected by this divine love, which is not necessarily a feeling, but it's a glue that binds everything together, including this whole universe. And when we're in tune with that, we are in the flow. But, sometimes, of course, we frustrate that flow. We get out of the flow, and we may miss the good that is right in front of us. And I recall a time that there was a story about a couple. They were driving to the Grand Canyon. And that morning, they were at the hotel getting ready to go to the Grand Canyon, and it was about 4 hours away. And after driving for 4 hours, the Grand Canyon was nowhere in sight. They were lost. I guess it was before Google and GPS and Google directions. And so, back in that day, for those who, don't know, if you didn't have Google, GPS, or a map, you stop at the nearest gas station. And then went to the nearest gas station and asked them for directions, and they said, well, it's about an hour and a half away, and just keep driving in this direction. And they did, and while they were driving, they kept rehashing all the wrong turns they made, the turns they did not make, what they should have, could have done, and how they ended up in the wrong place and whose fault was it. Then while they were at the Grand Canyon, They continued to analyze and debate why they had gotten lost, which one caused them to get lost. And imagine how much they missed out because they were focusing on who was at fault and who was to blame and creating what I call useless and unnecessary suffering. That's what I call sin. It's nothing but that. It's useless and unnecessary suffering. Anyway, it may have been a good time to let go and get in the flow of life. But they were frustrating that flow. Well, we know about that. Sometimes we can't help ourselves. And even people who are supposed to be, quote, enlightened, get out of the flow. I was sharing about, when I first was in the ministerial field, and after I got ordained and went to one of the early conventions that take place and had the ministers from all over the country and the world coming together, and the conferences, and of course, sometimes they have business meetings. They talk about the rule changes that had to be made. I don't remember what they were talking about. That's how unimportant it was. But most of the things that they were talking about, it caused some people to get bent out of shape. And I remember one year, it got so contentious, so heated, they were calling everybody else every name in the book except a child of God. And I'm sure some of them were grateful they weren't on tape. They wouldn't have recognized themselves. But I was sharing with a colleague who had been around for a long time that, I was a little surprised by all of this taking place. And he said, here's the deal. Whenever you see a human being, you're going to see human consciousness along the way. It's going to pop up. I don't care how enlightened they seem to be or want to be. We all get out of the flow. We all sometimes get out of sync with the divine. And all the times oftentimes in our life, we may run into people, maybe we encounter in our work or with our groups or organizations that kind of like rub us the wrong way, get on that last nerve. No one here, but you may know about that. And they cannot seem to get along with no matter what or how hard they try. And they often, because even though they're spiritual, they may throw out all the spiritual stuff. It kind of reminded me, I saw a group of mature citizens. People that, had been around, had full of wisdom and full of life. And they were looking kind of menacing, though. They were wearing hoodies. And they had some writing on the hoodie. And the hoodie said, "Don't piss off old people. The older we get, the less life in prison is a deterrent." And I looked at them and said, "Hey, I'm with you. Don't look at me like that." But we don't want to go there, though I understand. But Butterworth notes that getting along is only secondarily has to do with the other person. It's about staying with our true self. It's about staying there to keep the channels of our awareness free from any of the obstructions that stop us from staying in the flow. Years ago when I was a congregant at one of our first ministries after not being inside of a ministry forever, and Unity and others of like mind were doing some things that were different from traditional stuff, and including, before they legalized gay marriage, they had like civil unions, and we were promoting that, and there were some people that came and had a different point of view, and they were picketing the place and, calling us all kinds of names and so forth, and of course, one of the initial reactions was just to kind of fight, kick butt, take names, make somebody pay for what they were done. But this minister had a different tact. It was the middle of the summer, and it was hot. It was like one of those 90-degree blazing days. And he said, "I want everybody to go in the back, get some nice cold glasses of water, bring it out to them, and just give them some nice cold water. Tell them, do you need any more to drink? I'm sure you're probably thirsty out here. How can we support you?" And just send them a whole different kind of energy. And let me tell you, they had sent us so much positive energy from them, they just couldn't take it. So they just left, But it helped me come to an understanding what the master teacher Jesus meant when he said we should turn the other cheek. So many interpreted that incorrectly. That, somehow if you get slapped on one side of your cheek, then you're supposed to turn and get slapped on the other. No, And that's not what it meant, and that would be silly. Every time Jesus talked, he talked about parables. He talked in parables. He talked in metaphors. He talked about sharing transformation in consciousness. So we have to read between the lines. Read between the lines to understand that if someone sends us one form of energy in our direction that is of a low vibration, we don't have to get entangled in that. We can give them another form of energy back. In other words, we can choose who we are going to be. We can choose to name ourselves. We can choose and decide how we're going to stand and what we're going to stand for. So when someone sends us animosity or resentment or unforgiveness or gossip or whatever the case may be that comes in our direction, we become strong enough and decisive enough that we're based upon who we are and our awareness to turn the other cheek, to give another form of energy for what we may have been receiving. To do that is to get in sync with the Spirit, to get in sync with the force. And when we do, we'll be in league with people who had, with that presence, I should say, that has no beginning, that has no end. We'll be in league with those avatars, those people, those enlightened, truly enlightened people throughout history who have stayed in the flow of life. And how often they become monuments for peace and wisdom and harmony and reconciliation. You know, Nelson Mandela is one of my role models and heroes, and he's on to the other side of the veil. But I remember when he was first released from being imprisoned in South Africa for 27 years unjustly for his work against apartheid. That same day he was released, he was being interviewed. An interviewer noticed something, and he said something to him. He said, I noticed that even though you've been in prison unjustly for all these years, that you don't harbor any anger, you don't harbor any bitterness. How were you able to do that? How can you show up like that after such injustice? And he said to the interviewer, said, well, I do regret that I didn't have a chance to be with my wife during those times. I do regret that I didn't have a chance to help raise my kids during that time. But when all the time I was incarcerated, I remember a few guards who did some beautiful and wonderful things for me, some kind gestures for me. So I focused on that. And so as a result, I gave out a wholly different way of showing up in the world. We did something that was powerful because he gave a different energy from the energy that he received. And I think this is what it means to give one form of energy in return for a low vibration energy that may be coming to us. That's why it's important to closely examine and check out what's going on in our awareness. And ask ourselves, am I sending out the energy I want to see in the world? Because we see a lot of stuff going on in the world, a lot of conflict. Look, Middle East, kind of perilous stuff going on. But I always say that if we cannot do it where we are, in the environment that we are in, there is no hope for the rest of the world. We need to have that as part of how we show up. So in that same vein, sometimes we want to move into the place where we do not even take offense. Interesting, as an aside, Butterworth points out in his text this week that, if we're offended, then that means we're offendable. If we're upset, we're upsettable. And we're giving someone else our power, giving someone else the power outside of us. But that's another topic we'll talk about another time. Understand, to take offense is just as sometimes as violent as to offend. If we understand there's a cycle of energy. Oftentimes somebody will take offense. That person said something to me, about me. That person ignored me. I didn't like what they said. And we may take offense at what people do or do not do. Not understanding that sometimes taking the offense is just putting as much confusion in the airwaves as to offend. They're both the same. But we're human. But we can get back in the flow and discover imagination to be an angel of God. What I realize that sometimes when people are acting, how should I say, creatively, in a way that seems to be out of sync with who they know they truly are. But oftentimes, we don't have any idea what may be going on in their life, what has happened in their life, what experiences they've had that has brought them to that point. And oftentimes I listen to people who have had those experiences, and I come to the conclusion that if everyone knew how far this person had come, they would bow in adulation of what they're doing right now that seems to be out of sync. You know, we can always think independent of what we're seeing, independent of circumstances. And so we must understand when anyone sends us negative energy our way, we can make a commitment to strengthen our resolve and synchronize with this presence we call God and the qualities. And when we make that commitment and to stay in the flow, then the pure dimension of who we are begins to show up maybe like never before. And as I like to read biographies, I was reading about Albert Einstein, who was, many of you know, was very reviled for some of the views that he held. And he was getting attacked from many, many different directions. And people were asking him, you know, how he dealt with that, how did he handle that? He said, I've been, had slings and arrows shot at me from many, many, many different directions. But his response was that they have come to me, but they cannot touch me because my energy is not there. I don't live there. Therefore, it cannot in any way harm me. You know, if we're triggered, it's an indication that we are sometimes out of the flow of life. And if we see it from the perspective that we are out of the flow, we might figuratively bow before the persons and thank them for revealing to us what needs to be revealed. We can actually see those individuals that we may see as antagonists as actually being our best friends in disguise. All of us are unsure about ourselves at times, well, most people, unless there's some narcissism there, but that's another story. People sometimes don't like themselves. Sometimes we don't remember we are one with this presence. Sometimes we hide from ourselves. And then what happens, sometimes these good people show up in our life to help us remember the things we need to take a look at. And so we end up saying, we realize that, here's what I've forgotten about myself. Here's what I'm thinking about myself. Here's what I'm hiding from myself. And it comes in sometimes as criticism or dislike sometimes. But they are instrumental in revealing when we are out of the flow and gives us an opportunity to turn on more light. Sometimes we may wonder why we're here in a particular situation. And I was thinking back that my cousin, Gene, years ago, he was very helpful to me in my life, and he had passed away. And before he passed away, he let me know that he was very ill, and if I would come and do his memorial service, facilitate it for him. And so I did go up to Brooklyn, New York to do it, and it was a different kind of philosophy than what I brought. And so there was a few people around there, the ministerial team. They were kind of looking at me, with in an askance view and kind of asking me some questions about my theology and what I believed in. In other words, they were giving me the third degree. They kind of persecuted a little bit. And I'm wondering to myself, what in the world am I doing here? How did I end up here? So I said I'd be here. I told my cousin I'd be here. And I remembered something I read from Dr. Howard Thurman, who was a minister mentor of Dr. Martin Luther King. And he said, sometimes, God puts you in places where they love God and they love what you're saying. And it's a love fest. And sometimes you're placed in places where people don't know God. And sometimes there are places that, they hate God or the whole idea of what God is about. And then I realized that like a flash of lightning came into my awareness in which I said, I'm here to introduce them to my best friend. The presence and the power and the love of God. And I began to talk about, the power that is within each and every one of us and how there's a soul that goes on beyond the veil and all, I don't know what I was saying, but I just was going off. And they were giving me some amens and yeah, go ahead, brother, and all that kind of stuff. And I introduced them to my best friend, and I realized that wherever we are, God is. Wherever we are in the flow, then the light and the love of God can show up if we choose it. We're here to synchronize with that life. It means to get in the flow of that life. It means to get in the flow of this divine love. So when someone seems to have done harm to us, we have the choice to get in sync with that vibration of love anyway. Understand, we live in that sea of divine love. God is love. No matter what level or what pathway a person has, most agree that this presence that may be beyond words is love. And it's everywhere. It means that if it's everywhere present, it has to be right where we are. We're in it. We're surrounded by it. Therefore, we can never fall out of love. It's like falling out of a swimming pool. You can't fall out of a swimming pool. But here's the key. We can either swim in the deep or the shallow end, or we can swim in the deep end. Now, the shallow end is this. I'm only going to love the people that I agree with. I'm only going to love the people that I like. I'm only going to love the people that's on my side. I'm only going to love the people that think I'm right. But here, we're supposed to go into the deep end. As Jesus said, love those who spitefully use you, those who persecute you, those who do not agree with you, those who are not on your side. Understanding this, God doesn't take sides. There's only one side. Here, to love at that deeper end. And that includes everyone. And as we do, we're resonating with God's intention for our life. And like I said, if we are not able to do it, there's no hope for the rest of the world. You know, sometimes we don't want to go to the deep end because we might say, you know, if love means I have to hang around with those people, are you telling me that I have to go and buy them dinner at a 5-star restaurant or something like that? No, it doesn't mean any of that at all. It just means that the resentment, sometimes the animosity, the separation is diminished. And we're seeing how they are showing up. And yes, sometimes you need to just let them go. Let them be in the space where they are and just see them from a distance. That's okay, but we want to see them rightly. That beyond the appearance, that there is some redeeming value called the child of God within them. What I've come to realize when there's conflict in relationships, that oftentimes we're not at war with the other person. We're at war with our concept of them that we have in our own mind. Maybe they've forgotten who they are. We've forgotten who we are, and we've gotten out of the flow. But we're here to stay in the flow. We're here to court this divine presence. We're here to move into the direction in which our life is transformed by the renewing of our minds, because life is lived from within out. As we talk about in this whole series, that life is started within. And so when we begin to transform something within us, people will look at us, and they will see the God presence, causing us to see the truth, causing them to see the truth within themselves. Because you can never see it in someone else unless you also can see it in yourself. And they'll recognize there's something going on. We may not be able to describe it to them, but what they're seeing, what they're sensing is that we are in the flow. We are in sync with the presence and the power of the God, and they see the presence that we worship, that we celebrate. So we don't have to go around in any way, shape, or form trying to convert other people, you know, walk around and get up early in the morning, knock on doors and, you know, say, follow this particular way, believe in this, read this particular thing. Instead, we let our light so shine before men and women, they see that presence. And so they come looking for you to knock on your door and ask, how did you get to this point? And you'll just say, come on down to SLC. Where you get to glow, where you get to shine, where you get to show the presence of God, so that we need not convert or change anyone or anything outside of us. All we need is to glow, radiate, and shine, and that presence of God within us will begin to show up for others to see. And they'll take notice, and they'll drop what they are doing and dive into the flow as if this ever-expanding good has been part of their life forever, because it has. What we're doing by how we show up. We're announcing to all and sundry, oh, how magnificent it is. It's magnificent because we are in the flow of God, in the flow of life. And that's how good it is. Peace and blessings. Well, each week we have an affirmation that we take with us to deepen some of the ideas for the week's topic. And today we have the affirmation that's on the screen, and I invite you to join in as we affirm it together. Let's speak it aloud. I lay down my resistance to life. I become conscious of the presence. In divine order, I align with the flow. Well, next week we're going to continue on our Faith in Action series, week 5, on the topic Giving Way to Flow, which is really about the idea of giving and receiving. And so the next week's color is blue. I can see that because we're doing the rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green. Green is today, blue is next week. I still remember that from elementary school. I don't know what they call that, but I guess you learned that in art, the primary colors. So blue is the color for next week. We have the meditation by Reverend Janae and music by Lurie and our Soul Light Connection. So Lurie will be back with us, and we appreciate every week that we have our wonderful musicians with us. If you need prayer immediately after the service, if you're going through something, some challenge or difficulty, and just want to see things from a higher point of view, a prayer chaplain is available to pray with you, and they'll be in the courtyard. Just look for someone who's wearing the white stole, and like I always say, you don't have to wait until you have a problem or a difficulty. You can pray and just pray for something good that's happening in your life. Sometimes we wait until, oh my God, things have gotten so bad, I got to turn to God. But you don't have to do that. You can just turn to this presence to amplify the good that's in your life. Online, if you're watching us and you want to stay in connection with Spiritual Life Center, you can fill one of our welcome cards, and we'll let you know what's happening at Spiritual Life Center. Or if you're here today for the first time, I want anybody's here for the first time. Any first-timers here today to raise your hand? Yes, we got a couple here. Folks, keep your hand up nice and high. We have a card we want to give you. It's okay. We're not going to do anything to you. We just want to acknowledge you and affirm you and see you doing great things in your life. And if you wish, you can fill out the card. It will keep you in contact. I'll keep you informed of what's taking place at Spiritual Life Center, or events or classes, or fun activities if you want to come out and hang out. And we just acknowledge you. We appreciate you. We affirm the magnificence that you are. And no matter what path you are on, we just are supporting you on that pathway. So thank you. And if you want to, you can wear the ribbon and get a special Spiritual Life Center greeting. So we thank you for showing up and being part of this divine energy here today. For those who are online who would like to support Spiritual Life Center with your gift or offering, you have an opportunity to do so, and we make it very simple. You can text SLC Love to 44321. It'll take you to different ways that you can give online with your card, or I think PayPal. And you can also go to our website, slcworld.org, click the donate button, and it'll give you other ways to give, including sending a check by mail if you'd like to do that. For those who are here today, we'd like to support Spiritual Life Center in helping provide a place for individuals and others to grow, develop, and unfold spiritually. We invite you to just symbolically hold your gift into the heavens, which is ever-expanding good. Or if you've already given, know that you're in the flow of this good, and something magnificent comes back to you whenever you give out something good into this universe. So with that awareness, I invite you to join in as we affirm our offertory blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
Paula is continuing her recovery, but don't be fooled. She is still such a very intricate part of this music ministry. She was particularly moved to select this next piece that we'll be singing, and she was also moved to write this introduction. The names and music of John Lennon and Paul McCartney generally need no introduction, but this next song takes on an even more poignant meaning, as it was recorded by two remarkable women. Mira Awad, born near Galilee of Palestinian Arab descent, and Noah, born in Tel Aviv to a Jewish family of Yemenite descent, met as young women at the distinguished Remen School of Music in Israel. Since a young age, both women have been speaking out and actively working for a peaceful resolution to Arab-Israeli conflict,
For many years, they have performed together and participated worldwide in numerous panels as prominent cultural advocates of coexistence and the role of art and artists towards bringing it about. Whether your perspective challenges you to see eye to eye in your personal relationships, your community or nation, or beyond the deeply rooted pain of a savage history, there is an ever-present invitation from the healing spirit of oneness to see through the eyes of love. Love changes everything. Raise your voice with the voices of peace. We can work it out.
Try to see it my way. Do I have to keep on talking till I can't go on?
Well, you see, it's your way. Run the risk of knowing that our love may soon be gone. We can work it out. We can work it Life is very short, and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friend. I have always thought that it's a crime, so I will ask you once again. Try to see it my way. Only time will tell if I am right or I am wrong. Why you see it your way? There's a chance that we might fall apart before too long. We can work it out. We can work it out. Life is very short, and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friend. I have always thought that it's a crime, so I will ask you once again. Try to see it my way. Do I have to keep on talking till I get along? Why you see it your way? There's a chance that we might fall apart before too long. We can work it out. We can work it
Well, you all own that song. Indeed, we can work it out. Doesn't matter. Like I said, we never have to worry about anything because we got something on our side that's bigger than any problem. That's the spirit of the living God that is with us always, and we co-create with that presence. Well, we take this time to bless those who have blessed us with their gifts and offerings. Knowing He's going to bless the givers as well as the receivers. And so as we recognize this truth, we know that whatever we give out, it does come back to us, maybe in a way we never imagined and from directions we never thought of. But that's the nature of the law. That's the nature of this universe. And so we just stay in that flow, knowing He's going to keep flowing back to us in a myriad of ways. We also bless those who have left their prayers in the prayer box this week or today, knowing that we all have challenges along the way in this thing called life. But we remember this one thing, that in this thing called life, there is something that is there for us always, that we can rest assured in, that has the answer even before we know what the question is, even before we know what the prayer need is. Because this presence, this power, this love only deals in divine and perfect spiritual solutions. And there's no big or small in this power. It's all the same through this presence. And our job is to simply raise ourselves to be one with it and watch seemingly miracles take place in our life and in our world. We trust this presence. We trust in the presence of God. And we do our part to see it amplified and radiated in our life and in our world. And we start right where we are and know that as we are in tune with it and we are radiating it out, it goes out to every corner of the universe because we are one in the spirit. We're interconnected on that spiritual level and soul level. So in the Middle East right now, they're feeling this energy. There's something that's happening within them at this very moment. It may be imperceptible. It may not be seemingly like anything is happening, but there's something different. I'm waking up this morning, they're saying, I feel something a little different today. I don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from us. It's coming from us who are holding the high watch. So as we do our part, both in word and in deed, we begin to help create a world that works for all. This is our commission and charge and why we are here, and we're grateful. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And with that, let us join together as we affirm our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. I am, and all is well. Let's sing our peace song. Let there be peace on earth.
And let it begin with me. Let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth. The peace that was meant to be. With God as creator. God as creator. Family all are we. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. Let this be the moment. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Yes. Peace and blessings. Make sure to get Jan's book. Get your autograph book from Jan Adrian today. And stick around for a little post-service music and stay in the flow.